felt the feeling of a W. So he's very close. He's one heat away, 2 good waves away. Yeah, he has.
Get my phone all ready to go.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome to a live podcast brought to you by Bob Paste and Danielle. And we're here to fight CPS and stop taking our children. Top of the evening to you. It's the 29th, or no, it's the 30th. 30th of May, and I want to welcome on there. We had a visitor, Megan James, that called in at 10:26. Hello, I was live and lost you. I'm sorry. I hope Megan James could come back. She's somebody new, I think it is.
She was in, I think, this morning or yesterday.
Well,
but our last night she was.
Well, it says PM. It says, it says 10:26 a.m. Our show went from 8:45 to 9:45, so it's over we went 4 minutes over, so it was definitely there. But I want to give a warm welcome to all you listeners out there. You found us through Facebook, Fighting CPS, and we're broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And right now I have Danielle from Georgia, me from California, that both have had CPS cases. And we want to share with you some things that help you fight CPS. You're probably saying, why are we fighting CPS? Well, if you haven't known by now, the child protection system is very, very bad. I don't know any other word to describe it. They lie.
Corrupt.
They're deceitful. They don't care about you as parents. They don't care about you as grandparents. They don't care about seniors or elders. And if you really want to know who the social workers of CPS are, all you have to do is look over Daniel's shoulders and look at those nice smiling faces of 8 social workers. One is not there. I think when you cropped the picture, it disappeared, one of them. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think the other one is on the left of the girl, on the left there. But anyway, why we're looking at this picture, why Daniel's posted it, because in 2022, these social workers with 25 years of experience of helping children, and they're supposed to protect their children from neglect and abuse, and they help families do family reunification if they pull them apart. They're supposed to assist families. And what did they do? They put on the pink T-shirt on the front, professional kidnappers. Professional kidnappers. And on the back, it said, do you know where your children are? Now, what is that implying to you? What does that make you think, Danielle? What is that? Does it make you a warm, fuzzy feeling with CPS?
It gives me a nauseous feeling, a very nauseous, very uneasy feeling, because it's just, why would they, I mean, it makes you think, why would they be asking it that in a kind of smart alecky, spiteful way, like what? I mean, it makes me nauseous every time I see it, and we talk about it, I get nauseous, very uneasy feeling.
Well, I wanted to tell our listeners, don't fret. We got 3 good rules, and both Danielle and I have looked up a lot of topics, and we have new topics all the time and new people dropping in, and we're trying to make this site very useful to you. CPS has been around a long time. They say it's divided into 3 history periods: colonial days to 1875, then from 1875 to 1962, and then from 1962 to the present.
Now, yeah.
There was a case in colonial day where a parent was prosecuted, and then there was another case in 1875. Why they divided time frames, I don't know. About 1875 is when the Native Americans, our first immigrants, were being rounded up, put on reservations, and their children's hairs were cut, the cultures were denied, the language was buried. They were trying to wipe out the Native American Indians of our country. Now, it got so bad it wasn't until 1978 that the federal government made a change to how CPS was handling Native American children.
Right.
They created an act called the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act. And what that did is that it stopped for over 100 years of CPS just constantly taking Indian children and putting them up for adoption.
Right.
No chance of getting back with their parents. So what Congress mandated, it says that the CPS agency, which is a branch of social services, a government agency, must notify the parents about ICWA, because if the parents have Indian blood and their children would have Indian blood, then there's a different way that their kids are handling when CPS comes knocking on your door. And what I mean by that is that the CPS needs to contact, if you say that you're part of a tribe or you're not sure, there's 547 federal tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those tribes, if it happens to be yours, mine is the Rosebud Lakota Sioux in South Dakota. And so CPS is supposed to notify that tribe and any other tribe you think you might have connections to. And they wait to hear back from them to see if you're registered. And if you're not registered, you could be registered. For instance, if you know some people within the tribe or something like that. What all this means or boils down to is CPS has to turn over the children to the Indians.
Right.
The Indians themselves will put them with Indian families and try to have the family restored.
Mm-hmm.
You see, a lot of people, you don't want to break apart a family. I mean, it's been proven the best parents are the biological parents of children.
Right. Yep.
And if they have a hiccup or something messes them up, then you can.
A little setback is a major
fix it.
Yep. And in a way, that's the way it should be played out with DFCS or CPS. Is a little setback is supposed to be a major comeback to where you can come back and reunify with your kids and get your family back together. And they're supposed to be like your cheerleader, and they are definitely not a supporter, not a motivational, not an accountability, like not a cheerleader. They are like cheering you to fail, pretty much. Like they are totally against you, like kind of like the Grinch, you know, or like the kid, what is it? Not Dennis the Menace. Oh my God, I don't even know where that. Not Dennis the Menace, but like they're like the you know those the guys that were always grumpy all the time, and they were against, like they did not like anything in their town. Like what is it, grumpy old men or something? Hi KK, how are you? KK Richardson has joined us.
Oh,
how are you?
Okay.
Welcome in. Welcome in. Oh, hey.
I was just getting to the way to interact with the podcast.
Yeah.
So, to all you people that want to make comments, we welcome the comments from you. But there's something that we request when typing in the comments, your CPS questions, and we want to stick with CPS. That's what we're here for. Please show your name, city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. That way we can help you. And so, with that being said, please type in a comment so we can help you, and we'll try to do our best. Danielle can look up things, I can look up things, and so forth like that. Now, we do have countries contact us because they have CPS problems too. And,
sorry,
the countries we've received responses from have been Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Gonza. Am I saying that right? Gonza in South America. Yeah. That's a country that's on the coast in South America above Brazil to the west of Venezuela, to the east of Venezuela. Anyway, they called in, as well as Mexico, Mozambique, which is in Africa, and it's opposite Madagascar on the east side of Africa, above South Africa. They called in with problems, and lastly was Denmark. So we've had quite a cosmopolitan. We've also had a social worker call in and talk about how she did things, and what we were talking about didn't make sense.
KK said, Akima said, has a question, Bob.
Okay, wait, Akima. I want to finish the ways we can interact, okay? I think that's important we get that out of the way so I don't have to interrupt. Yeah, we will go ahead and do that here. A second way of interacting is a call in at 626-698-0990. That's my office phone. I have my phone on and it will ring, and I can put you live on the show via speaker, okay? And so that's the second way. Now, a third way is to be a guest on the show. And, well, here we go.
Like, hello.
Hello. Hello.
I was trying to wait, but I'm like so anxious to ask.
That's okay. I'll be right with you in 1 second. You just bear with me. So a third way to interact with the show is to talk to our producer of the show. And if you want to be a guest, you would email her. Her name is Grace. She's my producer that works behind the scenes. She's a very hardworking person and always here helping out on the show. But if you email her at email her Grace at vincentwdavis.com. I have it on the screen, but you email Grace at vincentwdavis.com and tell her you want to be in my morning show, evening show, Friday show, Saturday show. You pick it. There's 6 shows. Excuse me, there's 12 shows. 14 shows. Boy, my math is bad. It's 7 days a week, twice a day. That's 14 shows. So you just pick one and tell her which one. Now I want to get back to our people that are starting to text in here. Let me get this put back at the comment section. Where was the comment?
Don't forget about me, Mr. Bob.
No, you're next. You're next. I'm just trying to put something up here that'll stay out here for a bit. Okay. We have our first caller that came in, and her name is Kima. And I forgot what city and country are you from?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Right, Brooklyn, New York. Right, Brooklyn, New York. And she had a case there, and she's trying to finish it. Now, I want to say hi to KK Richardson.
That's Akima.
That's me.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And what did you say? Hi, Mr. Bob, and hi, Danielle. Well, hi back. I am great. What are we talking about tonight? Well, right now we're talking about you, because you have an issue that I know you've been trying to settle. And your question is, my next court date is June 6th, which is next week. And the 4th secured agency has restricted all visits or telephone communication, and they've also violated a federal right by removing me as my children's representative payee. Now, did you have custody of your children, or were you?
Technically, according to the federal statute with Social Security, because my rights are still intact, I am the legal guardian. The foster parent is the physical guardian. So based on me still having to...
So you should still be the representative payee.
I'm sorry.
You should still be the representative payee, definitely, if you still have...
Exactly, Ms. Danielle, and we established
yeah,
that.
just because you don't have physical, you still have... It's kind of like a guardianship and a conservatorship. I mean, that's... Wow. So they took you off as the payee.
Yeah, KK, what is a 4th secure agency? What do you mean by that?
The 4th secure, I'm sorry, I was speaking into my mic. It probably didn't spell it the right way.
Well, I'm reading your comment. It says
they cut all access off
secure agency.
Yes.
Like it's kind of like they're keeping the kid in
the 4th CPS case, or a separate agency in different parts of the state.
No, that's the thing. different counties in New York, they have like separate entities, like brother and sister companies. So CPS would send out like a vendor to like preventative or maybe therapeutic care, or they send out a foster care agency to provide resources. But in New York City, they, for some reason, never have a warrant when they remove your children for extrinsic circumstances. They usually remove them from school or an after-school program or a daycare, and then they don't provide you with that first visit within that 24-hour period. They do not, come with the police or, like I said, with a warrant, but they bias you based on your history. And because I have that 10-year off and on history, they make it seem like now I'm being irrational and I'm harassing everybody when I'm speaking, positive things for the benefit of my children.
Well, how did you first meet? How did you first meet with CPS?
My child that's 11 years old, she's going to be 12. She tested positive to crack cocaine. So she was removed from the hospital, and I was still an active parent with liberal visits because she was in a kinship with my sister, and I was very involved. I worked my program, and I got everything done in a way faster manner than CPS anticipated. So I was to speak on a panel for birth parents and their trials and tribulations, and I spoke very well. So I said, you know what? This would be something maybe I could try to pass along the message based on lack of knowledge or based on lack of resources in my demographic. And I don't know if I told you, but I did become an attorney last year based on my last.
What did you become last year? What did you become last year?
A lawyer, a civil family lawyer.
Okay, you became what kind of a lawyer?
Civil family.
What is a civil family as opposed to a dependency lawyer?
With the civil family attorney in New York City, we can basically just try cases that have custody involvement, anything that has domestic violence on the back end with children involved, and things pertaining to special needs children or special needs parents.
Now, did the CPS open this in dependency court?
No, they did not. Not at first. They removed my children for 3 days. I did not know where they were at. And then they tried to say it was abandonment based on my mental health and me not signing a HIPAA, or they assumed I was not in service and assumed I was not on that.
Oops. Sorry.
But I asked them based on my allegation of mental
Here's what I'm trying to understand is that how did they first show up in your life? Did they knock at your door? Did they ask you to come down?
No, they came. When I had my daughter 11 years ago, they were in the social worker came to the hospital and she was removed from there.
So this is medical trafficking. What your experience is medical trafficking, right?
Is that me or is that you, Bob?
Okay. I'm sorry. I had a call come in.
Okay.
So they're at the hospital. They work as a caseworker and they're a CPS. And because you tested or your child tested positive for cocaine, they immediately took your child from the hospital. Are you still there, KK? Let me. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I sometimes had lost you. So they took your child because your child tested positive for cocaine.
Yes. So
Now, how do they know that the child tested for positive? They took their own test, or where did they take the test?
No, but it was because I was an older female with a
Bob, where'd you go, Bob? Okay, so let's I don't know where Bob went, but we can we were hearing from Akima talk about her court situation, her case. Okay, there comes Bob. All right, Bob, don't disappear. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, you love doing that.
Yes, I'm still there. And they did a test at the hospital, and the hospital. Did you?
routinely during the prenatal care. So they did not inform me that they were taking toxins, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what. Bob, I can't hear you. Hey, Bob, can you hear us? I can't hear you. Like, we can't hear you.
Well, because my volume.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
Look,
pulled myself temporary from the screen because Grace
Okay.
doesn't want you on the screen when you have to leave. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm back, but somehow I'm put back on the
Okay.
screen, and my microphone wasn't turned on. And I apologize,
Okay.
everybody was missing me. Okay.
I know. Look, he likes putting me on the spot
Yeah.
like that.
To go through during pregnancy, they were doing, like, I guess, routine blood work because I was up in age, and there were certain tests that, as basically a geriatric high-risk pregnant woman had to take.
So when you tested, when did you ever test positive for cocaine?
Yes.
And what was your opinion about that? Did you have cocaine in your system?
I did.
Okay. So now they got you dinged because that is called neglect. Yeah, I understand that as neglect, and they can take your child away from you. Did you, I forgot, did you have a spouse?
No, I did not. And there was no father listed on the birth certificate.
Okay, so there's no father, no spouse. So where did they suggest a child be? Did you suggest a child stay with a family member?
They did, but I did not let any of my family know what was going on at the time based on the pregnancy being a very complex one that I didn't really want to explain because I was in that bad stripper life, so I was, pregnant by the family, honest and full transparency. So I was in a program, I was working my steps, I was trying to get sober prior to the delivery, but I kind of got nervous and I relapsed right before the delivery based on not having any familiar support. I was in the shelter, I was alone, and I was battling sobriety and, just estrangement altogether. So, based on my history of trauma in my childhood, I kind of reverted and became this hermit with this PTSD, or what was me thing. And I had to grasp that, but it took a little time. So, yes, I admitted to the neglect because I did not know my rights at that time, and I just wanted to get out of court. So I did confess to that. I signed the safety plan, which I didn't know at that time I should not have. But my sister stepped up, and I was very involved in my child's upbringing to the point where I was able to nurse. I was able to send notes and still have a connection with her, even though I was away in a program, and I got to come down on weekends to see her and spend time with her.
So here's what, okay. So now they have the child take away from you, and where is the child going to stay? Where did they place the child?
They placed the child with my parents because they did not. I did not have any other resources. I just kind of like stepped up with a sister that was a good. She had a good rapport with the community, and people spoke up on her behalf as far as her treatment of other children. She had 8 of her own, and she could take care of her niece and nephew. So they kind of, and they lived in a family, in a house, family setting where there was 3 families house. Everybody lived together. So there was a lot of support. There was a lot of help. And, because I was so intoxicated at that time with the drugs, because I just wanted to escape, that I just was agreeing to anything and everything to try to go get that next fix, because that's where I was at that time.
Okay.
But
aren't they supposed to help you? Did CPS at all suggested you need a drug treatment program?
And no, they didn't suggest it because I was already enrolled, but I did not disclose that to them because I thought that would make it worse by letting them know.
Well, no, because you've already got busted because you tested positive for cocaine and your baby is tested positive. Did you try yourself to get your own test done by your own doctor?
Right.
I didn't know anything about that because I knew nothing about foster care type of thing.
Right.
Anything that in my
She was new to.
Before the courts got involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't have.
So
that.
now they placed your child with your mother.
And that's because me and my mother have such a toxic relationship based on my sexual and physical trauma and my upbringing. It was.
So you and your mother don't get along?
Not at all.
Oh boy.
And her mom's probably wanting to adopt.
As a child, everywhere that I was put, thinking I was safe with people that loved me, violated me sexually and verbally and physically.
I'm sorry to hear that. You should not, as a woman, be violated in any format. So I'm sorry that you were.
I don't dwell on it, and I don't look for sympathy. I use it as motivation.
I know. I understand. I respect that.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, if you have a toxic mother, she's going to undermine your case. Is there any other family member you could place the child with?
Well, I have a sister that actually, she's ex-military. She has her own home. She has space for them. She is also a licensed mental health specialist with behavioral intervention on her back end. And she is aware of my children's special needs and services that they acquire with their mental disability as well as emotional distress. But because she lives in Alabama, CPS would not do the ICPC based on them, quote unquote, they want me to be able to have visits in the county. So they place them with a non-kinship resource. Yes, I know of this foster parent, but she is not a resource of mine.
Well, technically, CPS cannot deny your relatives in other states.
Right.
They don't like to do that because they use up their money. You see, they get $20,000 per child per month. And it's a $50 billion business. And when you have to go to another state, they got to pay more money. So that's why they want to. But they're supposed to let you put them with somebody in another state.
Right. And that's the thing. When I suggested my sister, she was willing to come up here and live up here in my home so the children can stay here as a less restrictive alternative.
And what did CPS say?
They said it's going to take a while for them to clear her. Like I said, she's ex-military. And because she's out of state, it could take anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks to get the paperwork set.
Not necessary. They can do it really
expedite.
Military have a good clearance. They're easy to get clearance.
They can do an expedite ICPC as well, like an expedite screening.
That's the point where it is playing on my mental, my mental status. Like, did I really say that, or is that true? I had to start really researching, and that's what made me want to become an attorney. Because if I can cite case law and I know what the law is, then I should be able to defend myself in a positive manner to where they cannot illustrate me as this psycho drug addict.
I see.
Still, because even still, when I advocate in a positive way, when I'm humble and I'm patient and I'm cordial, I still get restriction or resistance.
Well, yeah, because you see, this is how CPS operates. You have to look at those pink ladies. They don't care about
Yes.
you. They're professional kidnappers. And they ask you, do you know where your children are? They want the money. They want the adoption. They're
My children were
trafficking.
getting abused for 9 weeks with a resource that did not qualify for foster care stipend or any type of resources based on him being a convicted felon. And yes, he was a person I grew up with, and he was like a brother to me. But 3 years prior to this case, he was the one that left the state for 11 days, notified no one, and my children were removed based on him doing that. And I could not fathom the idea.
Okay, question. Time. Stop there for a moment. Why would him moving out of state have any bearing on your children?
Because he was the person that agreed to the courts that he would be the the resource that stayed in the house.
Wait a second. Is that the guy? Is that the military guy you said, or is that a woman?
No, just the military guy. I'm talking about in the beginning of this case that's open right now, which opened last year of September, based on domestic violence, and my children were home with me from September of last year, February of this year.
Well, Kima, I'm sorry I forget this, because you see, I'm still on your first this is your second CPS case, right?
This is my fourth case in 10 years.
Okay. What happened to case 1, 2, and 3? Are they over?
Yes, those 3 cases, my children were, the first case was indicated based on me not knowing my rights, and I wanted to get it out of court, but I did that. The second and third cases were closed without, were unfounded.
Okay. And so how did the fourth case start? How did the fourth case start?
Well, the fourth case was started basically for domestic violence. My ex-husband I wrote to have him get an early pardon based on my health needs and the decline it was going in. I wanted my children to have, my children have familiarity. God forbid something happened to me, their dad would be there for them, so they would not have to leave their home in the event that I passed away based on my cancer.
Okay.
So I did, based on my better judgment, because of our personal differences, I did not, I didn't think I was being selfish by putting my feelings to the side for the betterment of my children, so they could have something in the event I died. So I was thinking about my children. But when he came and realized that it was going to be intimate, he, violated all, rules as far as domestic violence. You told my 11-year-old, who is not your biological child, to go find her real dad. And when she said to you, as the stepdad, this is not even your house, you're a guest here, he pulled her foot through the bed frame, the metal bed frame, and banged her face and blacked her eye. Called me to come in, and I was, doing dialysis and chemo at that time. I was so grateful to have help that I was a little drowsy and so grateful for the sleep. So when I did get to the school and I did see her eye, they basically flipped it like, okay, well, what's going on in your house? Are you not aware of what's going on? Are you in a psychosis? Are you off your meds? Are you manic? Are you intoxicated? Anything from my history except, what I gave to them, which was the truth. I've always been transparent, and that is my biggest flaw. My truth is my downfall. I'm too honest, but I have no secrets, and I don't want my children to think lying is okay. So no matter what you do, you own your truth, and you accept accountability and responsibility, and maybe you can move
do
past
the crime, you do the time.
Well, Danielle knows from firsthand what you're going through.
Yep. So. Oh yeah. You do.
I know. I know, and I'm so grateful for you guys, because I am living in an insanity where you're telling me the allegation is mental impairment, but the foster parent sent my child to school with auditory hallucinations actively because she was tired. But there is no reprimand for that. The reprimand for that was because I called for a wellness check, I am harassing the foster parent and causing utter trauma to my children by having them woken up or out.
No, I do want to say, listen to how you just said that, and that the allegations against you, and the way I just under like my what first came to me when you just said that 2-3 sentences right there. what came to me is, is it they're playing mind games with you to try to get you to break? Because that's what it sounds like. And that's and making you like kind of in your head. Yeah, and mind games to where you are.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and what they're, and that's why they keep telling you these things, even though like they want you to think, and they want to make you feel like you're feeling, you get when, and so find a way to break that cycle of, because right now you're, you know what you get where I'm coming from, because the way you, it's,
you're trying to break it down.
I know what I'm saying, but I wish it would come out right. Bob,
No, I understand. I don't get what you're saying.
okay, so you got okay, because they are trying to.
Mr. Bob,
Yes.
the application is mental impairment, but yet every service and every resource my children have, I have advocated for them and put in place prior to the placement, and all the services I have requested for reunification or family interaction or therapy has been negated and dismissed based on me not violating my rights and signing a HIPAA for you guys to go back and just tarnish my reputation based on you guys getting information that is not privileged to you at that time.
And that, and they know how can they know where they can get you to break. I guess it's called like break character. They know where to get you to get where a good like subject, yeah. And like when like your character, and that's where they're going to try to, your strong points is where they're going to try to make you weak at, and they'll keep tugging at that, and that's what with you and you've talked over the last podcast, like the last couple podcasts that I've been in, and I've noticed that with you, it's all, they're playing the mental games with you, the head games, and make and learn and have you strengthened, like what have you done to strengthen yourself in that area? Since I mean, I know you are aware that that's what they're doing. What have you done to what like in response, like you don't act out?
With Erin Toronto virtually, I've been practicing reunification skills and parenting skills, stress relief, anger management, and coping skills with Ms. Toronto. So, you know, I got it pretty much on my own without a referral based on my history. So I want to kind of be 2 steps ahead of them.
Okay.
So anytime that I use my rights, it is a problem because I'm smart. Based on the melanin in my skin, I should not be that educated. I'm getting insulted by my demographic and how knowledgeable I am.
And that's how that's the area, like with what you just said, that's how they're trying to get to you and they're wanting you to break character. You get what I'm saying? Like they're wanting you. That's
right.
And that's where they're, and you,
my history, Miss Danielle and Mr. Bob, I was a very combative, irrational, angry parent. I was physically combative with CPS workers, and based on my history, I am not that person. My children have, you know, I have accommodated humility and humbleness based on the interactions and the things that I want to show my children in safety.
And they want to see you go back to the irrational person, the rebel that you used to be. They want that, and that's so.
And I'm not doing that anymore. What I do is I put pen to paper. Okay, you want to violate my rights? Let me put an emotion or a writ. I don't need my attorney to do everything because I can read myself and I know how to do case law, but there are certain things that Mr. Davis has suggested not to do on your own, and I listen very well on every platform. So, you know, the fact that I follow you guys, I try to watch as much of his platforms as I can with Miss G, with Mike Bud, with Miss Latinka, with you guys. You know, I'm trying to get myself established in case law so that way I can recite things verbatim because I have photographic memory, which is a blessing and a curse. But in the same breath, as a supervisor for a foster care agency, for you to basically state, and I quote, Ms. Richardson, you cannot call the police to the foster parent's home to do wellness checks because you know where your children are and you know they are safe, end quote. But in the same breath, my children's para who I have not met at all this year because they have restricted me on everything, has called me to let me know that the foster parent and her daughter have physically fought in front of my children with her son and their girlfriend.
When when did they cut off communication? Excuse me, when did they cut off the communication?
All visits and electronic communication based on me threatening the foster mother for not being not providing adequate supervision by sending my child to school with auditory hallucinations because she was sleep deprived.
And when did they do that? Has that happened recently?
Yes, this was on the 17th of April.
Oh.
I received a call from the foster care agency at approximately 7:14 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
My children's school does not open until 8. So when
Right.
the director called me and stated to me, Ms. Richardson, I'm reaching out to you because your younger daughter is having auditory hallucinations to where she wants to harm herself and the foster mother. So we are stepping in and sending her for an evaluation. I called the hospital to check to see if she was there yet so I could be en route. And they don't have her, so now I'm frantic. I reached back out to the case planner and I'm asking her, where is my child? I thought she was en route. It is now 7:47. They're telling me the foster mother put her on the bus to go to school. An active crisis. You cannot tell me that is not the definition of insanity and negligence, maltreatment.
Right.
And
Oh, right. That's so the foster parent, it seems to be a
and I quote, that is supposed to provide resources, support, and wellness for the diversity and safety and productive of the family's well-being.
Right.
You cannot tell me that is bullshit. That is total bullshit.
And they don't abide by their own policies and procedures. I mean, they don't even it's more like family divides than families first. I mean, they don't keep them together. They'd rather keep them separate.
And you're giving my 11-year-old the option to be defiant when it is, when it is convenient for her. Like I was restricted down from 4 days a week at 6 to 8 hours with my resources to 1 day a week, if that, for 2 hours supervised with a case planner. And my 11-year-old gets to pick and choose when she wants to come to the visits, when it is feasible.
Really? They're not supposed to
come out. But when I want to reprimand her for being disrespectful at school after I spoke to a teacher, or being physical with her sister because she can get her way, then the foster parent is supposed to help me reel that back and co-parent. But instead of that, he makes it seem like I'm causing a problem and I don't want to deal with the outcome after that, which throws a tantrum. So I'm going to cut the conversation. No, you will not, because according to my court order, it said every night at this time I speak to each child for this amount of time, and you will not negate that or dismiss that. Because if you do, then I will file a complaint with the Office of Family and Children Services, and that will be it. And see, every time she violates the motion or violates the order, and I put in a contempt motion or my lawyer puts in a contempt motion, they battle me with restriction on tell my children things.
It's like they retaliate against you.
So it looks like I'm causing destabilization.
Yes.
Not that everybody is looking at me as this irrational person that is harassing the foster parent or threatening the foster parent.
I agree.
So she's trying to make it look like she's the victim, the damsel in distress, and you're the one.
Right.
Wow.
That's somebody told me, Mr. Bob and Miss Danielle, and I quote, somebody quote me, I have a friend that works with my children in their school. Nobody knows that. And I'll keep her a secret because that's great for me. But when she called me and said, hey, your child's eye is infected, I think you should call the foster parent and see about getting her, some emergency services just to get checked out.
Right.
I called, my call and kind of like sneak that in. And my 11-year-old, like I said, she has ODD, obsessive defiant disorder. She is extremely combative and challenging.
Okay.
And very defiant.
Yeah.
So now that she's not in a face-to-face, environment with me, when she does not want to respect, my reprimand or, my chastising her for her level of disrespect, she'll hang the phone up on me.
Man.
I feel like two things. Either she enables that because she's not, I'm rectifying it, or she is she is not supervising the way she should. But technically, according to my order, it says electronic supervised communication by someone other than the foster parent. So
are they there for the visit? Like when you're on the phone with your daughter, are they there? Or is the foster parent there with them?
Somebody has to supervise. The foster parent was supervising, but with the last order, it said someone other than the foster parent. But yet she's still making these phone calls. And then, when my child...
She probably has something to do with her hanging up the phone.
Have you tried an attorney, KK? Have you tried an attorney?
If they...
Oh, I have a great attorney. She's great. She's on retainer.
Welcome in.
But sometimes, like I said, things are time sensitive. And because I do have the knowledge to do certain things for myself, based on me having, the little bit of legal knowledge that I do have that is, pertinent to my case, it's great. And I'm constantly reading. I'm an avid reader, especially I'm not from the country, so English is not my first language. And, I have really made myself very knowledgeable of CPS.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, we always say knowledge is power. That's right. I want to welcome Faye from Richmond, Kentucky. Good evening, Faye. Glad to see you join our room.
But it's just very unfair because I know for a fact, Mr. Bob, that in order to put a motion in to restrict any type of visitation or parenting time, it has to be 10 days. So if one day, I would say on the 5th of May, the foster care supervisor called me and said my visit was confirmed for that day. That was 10:30 in the morning. Then the case planner called back at 12:30 to also confirm. And then at 2:30, the supervisor called me and said, based on the sequence of events of the weekend, because I reached out and the foster mother told me she couldn't take my child to the doctor because she didn't have a vehicle. So my child's eye being possibly inspected because I haven't seen my children since Tuesday. It's now Friday. And based on something somebody told me that worked in close proximity with them, that is, in communication with me on a daily basis. And I tell you, as a foster parent, my child may need medical care. Any other time, Mr. Bob and Ms. Danielle, this woman comes on the time and is like, no, it's not that bad. Look at it. This time, it was, no, I don't have a vehicle, so I'm not going anywhere. So my child's medical issue or, possible medical conditions, because I'm not there, you're negating that fact because you don't have a ride.
Wow.
But I'm not making a complaint about that because that's negligent. But yet, because I fall in that complaint, I am harassing the foster parent. And yes, I'll be honest, I did threaten to kick her ass because I felt like my child's medical needs were not being met in a timely fashion, and that is not.
Your mom. So, parents are going to defend their children no matter what. I mean,
a child that does not know firsthand that her child may need emergent services, and I am a disabled paramedic, so I've been in that field. So it pissed me off a little bit that I have a vehicle, but my children cannot get in my vehicle because they're not insured. But I would think that in an emergency situation, that would be, tolerated based on the situation or possible situation again, because I was not there. There was not with my child's eye. Why would you not put the FaceTime on for the last 491 days?
Wow. So the foster parent has been causing a lot of saying that you're kind of like if you complain, so when you complain about something or put a grievance in or whatnot, they don't really like pay no mind to it. Like it's not important to them. Is how they're. Wow.
Everything is a dollar sign, and the fact that they have this foster parent listed as a paternal grandmother, like that is technically that's fraud. And two, these people every time they state this foster parent as a grandmother in open court under oath, they are perjuring themselves every time.
So, and they don't have, they haven't adopted your children or anything, right? I mean, your dog.
No, all my rights are intact, Danielle. I have legal custody, which means I still make all medical decisions, all educational
and educational. Yeah. I don't. This woman that's the foster parent. It sounds like she's trying to get full.
Does she want to adopt your children? You think she wants to adopt your children?
She does that because there was a situation to where she is a resource of my ex-husband. So I could not understand why this person stepped in when she did not even know my children's names until they mentioned myself and my ex-husband.
Oh, wow.
But now I figured out my ex-husband is her son's best friend. But they are no longer friends because my ex-husband and this foster parent were intimately involved, to my knowledge. Not that I know about that, but that was for her stepping in. And she is also financially, abundant prior to the resources coming in.
Oh, wow.
So you're pacifying my children and glamorizing them with money and gifts.
So pretty much she's just utilizing this system to get funds and make her.
And a grandmother woman to do these things unnecessarily when you know how I feel about my children. I have never seen anybody fight as hard as me with all the things that I'm going through. I don't use it as a crutch. I don't use it as a reason to lay in bed all day. I have stage 4 cancer, stage 3 lupus. Some days I walk, some days I can speak, and I maintain dialysis, chemotherapy, radiation, my mental health services. I have to play for Carmen San Diego on their medical charts to see what's going on because nobody's communicating with me. That's a violation of my rights. But yet, when you need authorization or for me to sign something on my consent, that is when you want to reach out to me and be very, very humble and very forthcoming. But then when I say something on the lines of what am I consenting to if you're not giving me the full story, then it's like, well, we can use implied consent. Well, then you do that, and you talk to me about it later.
Right. And they talk about it like behind closed doors without the and then they want to say like the parent's absent and all this other stuff, or they tried to reach out to the parent to get them involved in that, and it's not. They're a joke. I've never met or known a department system or even a group of people that can get away with lying so much that it's so bad that, I mean, how do they keep up with their own lies? Like, I mean,
and I'm going to be honest, guys. I made a statement to my children's school principal, which kind of aided to this removal based on them having a miscommunication and not getting clarity. And I said, the fact that you guys as a faculty here make me feel like this is a family setting, but now because you have been negligent on something that I advocated for, my child's wellness, by getting bullied, you guys want to minimize that and try to tarnish my reputation by a misunderstanding. And the statement the fact that you agencies and you guys that are mandated reporters push these parents to the brink of relapse and suicide, where some of them, and excuse my language, they say fuck life, serious, and want to walk into traffic. They called mobile crisis on me and said I was suicidal, and that is what implemented. But yet, I wasn't suicidal. I went and had an evaluation the same day, was released 45 minutes later with a follow-up a month away.
Wow.
I'm already in service. I have a safety plan. I have a treatment plan that I'm using my coping skills and working with my resources to minimize any type of safety concern. I have enrolled myself in classes on my own just so I can have backup resources just in stressful situations based on my children having special needs. I was involved with the PTA, the student leadership team, the Committee for Parent Education and Planning. They stripped me of all my chairs in the student makeup based on the state being located.
Wow. So I mean, so you are trying to maintain like the connection with the community and like where your child was, like, because in the county that my case is in, that's what they're supposed to do as the caseworker, is maintain like positive contact connections with the community that the child was in, and keep the child in contact with them, extended family, supportive groups, friends, and they don't do that at all. It's like they take the child and just strip them from their home. Like, I mean, look at my son, his home state, the only state he's ever known. But I mean, he's been to other states, but not living. Like, Georgia has always been his, and now he's in a place where he has
look what Faye said. She said they do surgical procedures on her kids without her knowledge. They do that a lot lately. They do this medical trafficking, and then he feels necessary to put ear tubes in the child's ears,
kind of like Gypsy
take out
Blanchard,
their
like
tonsils when they may not need to be taken out. They do all that. That's wrong.
Munchausen
That is wrong.
by proxy. Like they try to diagnose them with something they don't even have. Like kind of like that girl that her mom Munchausen by proxy or whatever, and then that's they do things that are unnecessary that shouldn't even part of the kid. Like, they got them on different kids on meds that have nothing to do with what their diagnosis or their, it's crazy.
Well, we got about 4 minutes left of the show. What else can we do to help you, KK?
Mm-hmm.
Did I lose you, KK? Let me see.
There she is.
Okay, and it's a fact finding. What are they trying to find? What facts?
That I am mentally impaired based on me not being on medication or not in service, but I provided compliance letters and statements certified by my clinician. So
good. You have the paperwork, the interim on there. I'm sorry. What about HIPAA?
Yes, they're telling me because I won't sign HIPAA, but based on my previous, experience, I will not sign that HIPAA because, again, like I told you guys, they go back and research things that are not pertinent to the case that's open right now.
Right, and then they try to put that in the case, and then backdate it and try to make it like it's really life, like it really did occur. They fish for information and deep stuff, and it's
compliance letters and answering the questions that you are, delegating to the clinician about my well-being, and they're illustrated on letterhead, certified, a sealed envelope to the court.
Right.
You cannot tell me that correspondence is not credible or admissible, and the judge admits it every time.
Now, is this judge? You look at the background of this judge.
I did, and she actually she's more for the parents. I will say that. I will give her credit on that. And this is the same judge that has been following me my 10-year history. So even though my last case, which was 4 years ago, she did say, even though Ms. Richardson may have a substance abuse problem, she does not have any imminent risk factors or any safety concerns at this time to show that her level of parenting is one that is unsafe. And the case was unfounded, and my children were returned to me that day.
Wow.
So, I work my program. I've been clean. I still in my program. I receive therapeutic service. I, try to make sure my children have their therapeutic service based on their special needs. I am always involved in their schooling with IEPs, education amendment plans or BIPs for behavioral intervention. I try to make sure I'm aware of parents at the conference. I look at my school's accounts, check their progress because nobody's talking to me. So right. It's like I'm like a detective. I have to really.
You have, like a private investigator. Mm-hmm.
But you guys are great. You guys are so great. I try to catch every show that I can. This is so informative. And most of the laws that are in California are similar to those
in other states.
Or applicable in your state of New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I hate to be a sorrow and bad news here, but our time is almost out. We have about 30 seconds and went pretty fast. I asked
if I could be on your show, Mr. Bob.
Yes, you can. All you have to do is contact Grace.
I
And
did. I reached out to Grace. I'm waiting for her to get back to me.
okay, and she just left here. I will tell her that you have been trying to get a hold of her.
Morning show because I'm 3 hours, 3 hours ahead of you guys.
Well, right now, send her an email, Grace at Vincent W. Davis. Say you want to be on the Friday morning show at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Got it.
And then we can send an email letting her know that
Thank you, Mr.
she's
Bob.
gonna contact her.
Yes, I want to thank
Okay.
Faye from Richmond, Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
who came here.
Come in.
Again, KK
Yellow Rose.
Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy that
Thanks.
you've come here. There's one other person that came in before that lost us was Megan James.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yellow Rose. That one at the
Yes.
bottom.
Yeah, Yellow's Rosa Gora. I just made a police report on a worker that ran into my house 6 months after the case was closed.
Wow.
Well, I'd love to hear more about that, but as you see your time, it's 8 p.m. and I got to end the show. I'm 1 minute over. Yeah, I know. Well, they only give me an hour, but please call in tomorrow, Yellow Rosa. Text me tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I'll see you tomorrow, KK. All right. Thank you so much. God bless y'all. Thank you, Danielle. And this is Bob Pace, Daniel, sign off. Don't stop. Keep fighting to get your kids back.
Keep fighting.
And God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you tomorrow morning.